Let's go live. Hello, YouTube. Joe Woody here, aka Home Theater Joe, aka HTJ. As usual, I hope y'all are happy, healthy, and doing well. Man, I can't sleep. So, why not? Why not just get on here and talk some stuff? I haven't even laid down. It's been a long day. Mind is racing, It's like one of those things, man. So, I do have some stuff to talk about, though. It just keeps rattling around in there. So I figured, you know what? Let's just get on here and have some fun. Let's see. We got our critter over there. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody seen Critters 1 or 2? Love those films. Takes me back to my childhood. By the way, I should mention that there's a kitty bitty around here. He's may be making some noise, whatever, but that's just what he does. Got this cool poster here. I don't know if y'all have seen that lately, which reminds me, we should go over the newest theater build at some point, which there have been some upgrades. So, yeah, we got to do that. I feel like there's so many things to do, to cover, and I'm just having a hard time getting to them. So, yeah, my apologies for all that stuff. Let's take a look at this list, okay? And the first thing on my list, and this is no particular order, but it happens to be Fury versus Ngannou and Jones versus Stipe. I don't know, maybe you guys saw, but I put out a little short there before the fight against DDP and Robert Whitaker. I did film a breakdown the other day, but it's going to have to be redone. Whatever. But I was surprised that so many people got that wrong, to be totally honest with you. Shocked me. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about those two fights because they're at the forefront right now. And I know Poirier, Gaethje 2 is coming up this weekend, and then we got some big fights coming up. But let's talk about Fury and Ngannou for just a minute. Again, the reason I referenced the DDP Robert Whitaker fight, by the way, that's Dricus Duplessis. The reason I referenced that fight is, again, the disparity there. Like, no one was giving DDP a chance to win that fight, and I didn't understand it. Seems like we're in the same position now with Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. And I don't understand that either. I don't understand why people are so one-sided on this thing. I think Tyson Fury is quite possibly one of the greatest heavyweights of all time in boxing. No doubt about it. However, Francis Ngannou can end a fight with one. So I just want to caution everybody out there, take a look at Francis. Take a look at some of his past fights. I don't think it's so cut and dry. All right. We'll move on. Jones versus Stipe. Here we go again. Same scenario. Oh man, I might go off on a tangent here, so just please stop me if I do. John Jones. Everybody, oh, he's the greatest fighter of all time. Oh, and now he's moved up to heavyweight. Look, y'all. Okay, he beat Cyril Gane, who couldn't beat Francis Ngannou. Granted, it was a longer fight, but we know that Francis was dealing with a shredded knee. So you got to give him that. And by the way, Francis showed high IQ, learning progression with that fight. So back to John Jones. People see him move up to heavyweight, beat Cyril Gane in very quick fashion, mind you, and let me just say this. Let me give the devil his due here. John Jones was not just looking to choke that man out with the guillotine. Cyril Gahn was tapping as if his life depended on it. I mean, he was going to break it. The position they were in, Jones wasn't quite sitting. He was squatting. He had the leverage. He could have ripped that man's head off if there had not been a referee there. So give the man his credit. It was like, what was it? Less than 2 minutes? Okay, fine. So we're really going to say that, what are we saying here? Jones is the greatest heavyweight of all time now. Jones is the greatest fighter of all time. I get it. That's the consensus. That's what most people think. But we'll we'll maybe get to that at some other point. But John Jones is not the greatest fighter of all time. I hate to break it to y'all. He's just not, in my opinion, my humble opinion, right? Anyway, the Stipe fight's not going to be like the Cyril Gahn fight. Just not going to be like that. And again, there's a pattern here, y'all. Have you caught this? Right? DDP versus Whitaker. Just nobody picked DDP. Fury versus Francis Ngannou. Nobody's picking Francis Ngannou. Now we have Jones versus Stipe, and nobody's picking Stipe. Again, I caution you. I saw the DDP thing coming, and I'm telling you, I'm smelling some upsets here. All right. So I think we got that out of the system now. We can move on to something else. This is, the home theater channel. So we should talk a little bit about the new theater build or newest theater build. You guys might know I'm a fan of in-walls. We have no in-walls. We have some in-ceiling speakers in this build, and they have been very nice. The mono price, Alpha, the model number escapes me, but they are the Alpha ceiling speakers by mono price, about $80 a piece, something like that. Anyway, when it comes to Atmos, because I have had high channels before, but they were in a terrible placement. Terrible placement. I'll be the first one to admit it. And I will say, when we're dealing with Dolby Atmos, what I've learned with this new build is not every movie is going to take advantage of Atmos. And a lot of the movies that are labeled Dolby Atmos, they just don't have much going on. And that's when we get into the up mixing, and people like to hear stuff just coming out of their speakers. I'm not a fan of up mixing. I like the pure signal. I typically run it two ways through my Emotiva MC1 pre-pro. And that would be either the pure signal or the direct signal, which the direct is pure with room correction added. So depending on what I'm watching, it will either be pure or direct in those settings. And I will say that going direct is a little bass heavy. The Emo Q, while it has done a fair job in my estimation, things are a little bass heavy here in the basement theater. So sometimes I do like to run that. Most times I do like to run that pure signal. So with Atmos, we have two big factors here. The content. I mean, is it there? Is the information there? And two, and perhaps even more important than the information, the placement. That's what I've learned in this build, and I have yet to do an updated, theater build thing. But look, there's a lot of things on the list to do. It's just finding the time to do them. So hopefully that'll happen. But the new theater build, yeah, that's probably what I've learned the most about this one is proper Atmos placement. Makes a world of difference. And I will also add this as a piggyback. When you're dealing with 5 or 7 bed layers, that's super cool. I don't have room for side surrounds here. I would love to have a 7-channel bed layer. That's just not applicable here in this build. So we can't do it. Um, Having said that, and everything I did about the ammo, speaking with the signal and the placement, or we should say placement then signal, right? Because the placement is more important. Uh, you do go from a ear level experience to more of a it is much more immersive. It's pretty cool. So yeah, if you're running high channels, and by the way, I'm only running two. I'm not running 4 or 6. I'm just running two. Um, if you're running high channels and you don't feel like that you're getting the effect, or when you know the content, the information's in the content, when you know it's there, but you're still not, maybe it's fading into everything else. Maybe you just hear bed layer stuff. Check your placement. Check your placement, and you know, start from there because it is quite interesting. Let's see here. Talk about the new theater build. Well, okay, all right. So we talked about the new theater build. Let's talk about some movies then. I recently did a little little video on Blade Runner 2049. If there ever was a more beautiful cinematic piece of work that absolutely amounted to a hill of beans, somebody please let me know. Please, because it was not great. I mean, yeah, I was so frustrated. Maybe go check out the video. But Blade Runner 2049, what a disappointment. I was thinking to myself, why have I not purchased that video before now? Or that 4K Blu-ray? And I remembered when I sat through 2.5 hours of making myself dumber. Yeah, 2.5 hours. So yeah, that's why I didn't buy it on 4K. All right. So I already talked about that. Let's jump into this. Come on, y'all. It's coming out August 4th. You know what I'm getting ready to say, don't you? The Meg 2. I'm a huge fan of the Meg, the first movie. My family loves the Meg. My kids love the Meg. Man, we love that movie. And yeah, it's crazy. Let me just hang on to that thought for a minute. Like at first glance, you think, oh, like this is just like a cool, ocean shark movie. La, la, la. No, man, there's so many deep themes in the Meg, and the one that keeps popping its head up, the one that they really wanted to drive home, I guess the writers of the script or whoever it was, is the cycle, the struggle between life and death. I mean, and they made it really deep in a lot of parts. So again, I'm a big fan of the Meg. All right, but I'm here to warn you, HTJ. Hey, I'm looking out for y'all. I'm here to shortcut you. That's my whole thing. You don't need to see the Meg 2. The Meg 2 looks pretty bad. And I tell you what I feel like. I feel like the Meg 2 was made for Hong Kong cinema or Chinese audiences. I'm not sure it was made, um, you know, that, and isn't that one of the problems? Movies no longer that are made here in America. Listen, these companies don't care about domestic box office because let's just say they hit it out of the park with an Avatar 2 or whatever. They're going to rake in 350 million, maybe domestic. When worldwide, it's going to be more like 800 million, a billion. And a lot of that's coming from Asia, right? So I feel like we've seen the trailer, the Meg 2, and it's just, yeah, it's not looking great. I don't think. I mean, we got we got the Meg running through this pier, and Jason Statham is running for us like a la Tremors, one of the best movies ever. Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward. I think y'all know the movie I'm talking about. Reba McEntire. Oh man, what was the other guy's? Sorry. Anyway, I don't remember them all, but that's a great movie, right? But that what that scene reminds me of, and then they cut to another part of the trailer and cut back to that, and you see Jason Statham like fighting off the Meg's jaws with his feet, so he doesn't get eaten at the end of the pier, and then the pier's like lifting up into the air. Man, it's crazy. I know. Here's the flaw in what happened. We're back. Here's the flaw in my argument. The Meg, the first one, well, that's not realistic either. I know. It's Megalodon. It's extinct. I get it. Wow, it's pretty great. The Meg 2 doesn't look great, in my opinion. So maybe I'm wrong about that. All right, look, we're gonna end this off. We've been going for a few minutes here. I've talked about some stuff that was really on my mind. And again, this community, this channel is built on home theater. So we got to talk, y'all. We got to have a serious talk. We have a serious talk right now about 2023 displays, televisions, as well as next year's displays, televisions. We can even go back to last year, but we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. We'll just stick with now. 2023, the current displays that are out here, and 2024. Last year, I gotta say it. All the talk of QD-OLED last year, all the talk. Oh, it's game changer. Blah 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 blah. For a year later, for all the reviewers out here, and lots of them I respect and like and watch and appreciate. There's a consensus out here, though, that I'm seeing, I'm hearing, and it is that, well, the QD OLED and the G3 with MLA, and well, whatever TV. Well, there's a few TVs we can put in here, but those two, maybe in particular, because those are the heavyweights, right? And the Sony, excuse me, didn't mean to leave out the Sony. A95L, is that where we're at? All these are great displays. No one disputes that. They're incredible, beautiful. You have QD OLED, you got MLA OLED, or MLA WOLED over here, right? Y'all put them in a vacuum. There's no difference. All these reviewers that have their hands on all three of these TVs, and they're putting them up on the screen for you. You can see all of them at the same time. That's the new thing. It's been going on for months. It's like every reviewer out here now is going to have 3 or 4 displays on the screen at one time, which I guess I can appreciate that. But man, it's a real copycat kind of community, isn't it? That's a little silly, but it is what it is. It doesn't matter. Go buy the A95 or go buy the S95C. Oh, excuse me, the S90C. If you're a PC gamer, because we know, just like Vincent from HD TV Test told us, that the S95C with the one connect box capped at 40 gigabits per second. Who saw that coming? Not me. And I really, really like that one connect box. I love that idea. I think it's awesome. Just one cable going to your TV. That is awesome sauce. And then they capped it at 40 gigabits per second. Now, okay, great. I know. Probably not a big, can you see that with your eye? Probably not. But if you're a stat nerd, or if you're a geek like me, that's no bueno, right? All right, then you go to Sony. You know what you're getting with Sony. The only problem with Sony is you're paying the Sony tax. All right, and then you got the LG G3. All three of these displays, even side by side, you have it's not easy to tell the difference. Uh-oh. There's a puppy up there going crazy. It's hard to tell. I mean, they're all on. Look, y'all, even the LCD displays right now, they're crazy good. Thus brings me to my issue, my problem. The display industry is just saturated with good technology. Now, Ask yourself this: why in the Lord's name is everything under the sun going up in price? But displays, top end displays, even they're holding steady. Even they're on sale a lot. Why? That's so funny to me. It is so funny to me that this piece of technology, like everything else, is just skyrocketing in price. But you can go buy yourself a real nice TV for the same, basically the same amount of money every year. Follows a curve, man. I even saw, what did I see on sale the other day? Saw, I think, a C2 83-inch display on sale for about $3,700. Now, to put that in perspective for you, we purchased a C10 77 in whatever year that was. But we waited till the end of the year. It was like October, November, right? The display came out in April, so we were able to get a deal on it. And we paid about $3,500 for that display, maybe 36. All right, before taxes. And now you can buy an 83-inch C2 for $3,700. That doesn't not make sense. And those of you that watched the trial of the century will understand where that quote came from. That doesn't not make sense. Anyway, it's almost like people want you to be either glued. When I say people, keep in mind, I mean the elites, the money makers. They either want you to be glued to a device, yeah, a cell phone, or your display at home, and it's working. That's what people do, right? They're either buried in the phone or buried in the display, the projector, whatever. So anyway, man, if you're at the top end of the market, the displays are no different. Take your pick. Who cares? It's no different. Like I don't know. You want a Ford or you want a Chevy? Who cares? There's nothing separating the industry right now. The display industry. There's nothing separating. Nothing. And all that talk, a year ago of QD-OLED and blah blah blah, S95B and A95K or A90, whatever it was. Put those TVs up against the G2. The G2 was holding its own. So for a couple of years now, there's no difference in the high end. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I think that's one reason all of the guys in this community have just gone to showing you 4 TVs at a time. Which, by the way, while I'm on that, dude, it really irks my nerve because a lot of these guys are buying these displays. They have them for 15. Puppy's going crazy. They have them for 15 days, 13 days, whatever it is. So they be right back to Best Buy, right? They get their money back, and there's a display with absolutely nothing wrong with it. I just think that practice is going to hurt. It's going to hurt the average consumer at some point. So anyway, look, I'm going to have to wrap it. I hear this puppy up here. I hear her. So she's probably got to go OUT. But I appreciate coming on here, man, and being able to talk for a little bit, man. I actually feel like I feel like I needed that. So anyway, if you happen to tune in, or maybe you see this later, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Any questions or comments you may have, good, bad, or indifferent, you set them right down there below. Yeah, that's about it. All right. Well, if you have made it this far, thank you all for listening. Be good. Be safe. Boom. Boom.